Meninga leads out the Canberra Raiders. Tremendous crowd here. This exciting backline, Mullins, Nagas, Meninga the captain, Wiki, Nandruku, Daly and Stewart. And just as brilliant the forwards, Clyde, Furner, Croker, Lomax, Walters and Pongia. Well, that Canberra backline looks ominous, Jacko.
Certainly does. Warren and Canberra have to be the favourites today, I'd imagine, but be rest assured, Canberra will have to play at or near their best to get away with this one this afternoon against the Bears.
The referee for the match is Bill Harrigan. Canberra winning the toss. And North Sydney defending the Sydney Cricket Ground end of the ground as John Lomax brings it back strongly up to the 20. Look at the power of Lomax. And there's plenty of Canberra fans here. What are the conditions like, Debbie Spillane?
Well, it's fairly warm down here. It was nudging the mid-20s early in the day, but a torso tanning during the lower grades. And now there's a bit of a breeze has kicked in. It's blowing across field away from the cameras. Canberra coach Tim Sheens was talking to us a bit earlier. He said he believes it's swirling very erratically up high, and there'll be a lot of nervous wingers and fullbacks out there today.
As David Furner powers his way up towards the halfway line. North Sydney's defence moving up quickly. Now it goes to Stewart for the kick. And he pushes it deep into the corner. Great start from Ricky Stewart. Matt Sears can only watch it go over the sideline.
Well, that's just the confidence boost to Canberra after. Ricky Stewart, a great kick to the line. Good hit-ups by the forwards.
Johnny Peart, everyone's talking about the North Sydney forwards versus the Canberra backs. How do you see it?
Well, I think North will have to be on their best behaviour today, Warren. I think they'll really have to try and force some errors. They have to have a good kicking game, preferably fine touch, because I think what you've got to try and do is slow Canberra down, but keep the ball away from them. No mean order, but North will be in it if they can be on their best behaviour. Limit mistakes.
Jason Taylor will certainly be trying to keep the ball away from Brett Mullins when he kicks. Now here's North Sydney's turn with the ball. Can they make the same sort of forward progress that their opposition did? Soden scampers from dummy half, runs into Furner and Clyde. On his own 30 now. It's Tony Hearn included in the starting lineup with Gavin Jones dropping back to the bench. Both teams with plenty of depth on those benches. Taylor gets away from Stewart. Now he goes to Sears and he puts the kick downfield. You can see Canberra's intentions there to put plenty of pressure on Jason Taylor. Ken Nagas brings it back. He's only just got back into the first grade lineup after injury. And the ball lost in the tackle. And the touch judge's call is a penalty to Canberra for the ball being stripped.
Yeah, Kenny Nagas upset. Here's the replay now. There's Chris Caruana over the top. See if we can see a hand in there. Nagas getting to his feet. Well, it looks like a drop ball to me. I think the touch judge may have got it wrong, Warren.
Yeah, it looked more like Nagas lost it than the North Sydney hand of Caruana bringing it loose. Stewart finds touch on the halfway line. Ken Nagas, what an exciting player he is. In fact, he was injured against North Sydney when the Bears defeated Canberra 25 points to 10. Their one meeting at North Sydney Oval this season. The season's point shows what a tremendous attacking side Canberra are, the best in the league. 677 points they put on compared to North's 517. In defence, very even. Everyone talks about North's great defence. Canberra only conceding 7 more points during the year.
Well, their defence will have to be excellent this afternoon, the Bears, if they're going to upset the Raiders. There's a knock-on.
Pongia actually lost it and North Sydney have got it. Diving through with Greg Florimo. Great pick-up by Florimo. And now it quickly goes out to Larson. Up on him, though, Clyde and Pongia. He gets the offload back to Cleary. Strong work by Gary Larson. Now it's Matt Sears. Good start here from North Sydney. Taylor shoots it out to Fairley. Quickly on to Moore, but that's a strong tackle from Laurie Daly. And over the top comes Meninga. Still on the halfway.
Laurie Daly means business today. He's where he revels in semi-final football. There's a penalty inside the 10. North Sydney get a good break.
I think it might actually be a high tackle by John Lomax. Just a little bit high as he came in on Tony Hearn.
Well, you have to be careful, Lomax. He's a good hitter, very tough forward, but at times can be a little bit reckless. Especially with Jason Taylor. There's the replay. Yeah, well, not much in that. Probably warranted a penalty, if that.
Barely.
Barely, exactly. Pardon the pun.
Now Mario Fenner gets his first touch, looking to unload, but Steve Walter's got around behind him. Soden. Moore. Strong hit attempted by Pongia. Moore bounced away from it. On the Canberra 20. North Sydney right on the attack here. Mark Soden scurrying run. 8 metres out. This is good stuff from the Bears. Taylor wrapping around Fennick. Gets it back. Now Florimo Meninga comes up and crunches him. 12 metres out. Larson dummy half. Taylor goes to the line. Now he turns it back inside to Fairley. He's lost it. Regathers. Still going, David Fairley. A whale of a job there for Laurie Daly trying to hang on to him. Last tackle coming up now. Canberra right on their goal line. Soden. Sears rebounds. North Sydney's ball. He's over, but the referee says it's a penalty for offside. And that kick came back from the Canberra player.
Well, I don't know about this one, Warren. I'll tell you what. Very unlucky. Here's the replay now. Matthew Sears is the one that gets the kick in. There's the kick. He was onside. Oh, I see. He comes off Matt Sears and bounces into the hands of the North Sydney player. Good decision by Bill Harrigan.
What an attacking arsenal Canberra have when you kick. If you pick out a winger, you get Nagus or Nandruku. If you pick out the fullback, you get Mullins. There's not much choice there.
What's negating their kicking game as Mullins goes through.
Mullins down full to the halfway. He broke the tackle of Fairley, but just in time, Cleary got to him. Clyde now. Inside to Pongia. Defence came up very quickly. It was Tony Hearn. He read that inside pass well.
Having a whale of a game, Tony Hearn, the impressive forward on the field so far.
Steve Walters now. Motors forward. They're 28 metres out, the Raiders. Stewart. Shops wide for Daly. Pops it through. Meninga giving chase. Back goes David Hall and gathers it in well. 10 metres out from their own line. The pace of the game already telling the North Sydney players walking slowly to get back on side.
Well, it's September, Warren. September football's the best football of the year. It's a tremendous game unfolding.
Peter, the kicking game of the Canberra halves, so hard to read. Ricky Stewart's had a lot of room to kick long. If there's any pressure on him, he slips to Daly, who takes it right up to the defensive line and then puts in one of those little kicks. They're all onside.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't put more pressure on Ricky Stewart. I think you've got to do that. I mean, Ricky Stewart, you put pressure on him, he's not always going to come up with a bad kick. But if you don't put pressure on him, you're committing suicide.
Soden kicking out a dummy half on the last. Not a very good kick. Nagus gets an easy bounce. Didn't really put any pressure on Ken Nagus, but the chasers were there.
That's the difference at this stage. Warren, Canberra's kicking game is immaculate as usual. North's is very poor because of the pressure applied by Canberra.
Wiki eluding a couple of tackles. Canberra have already made a couple of line breaks or half breaks and very nearly got through the line 2 or 3 times. Lomax with the ball, but the penalty goes against Norths inside the 10 metres. Well, they'll be moving up quickly all day, Norths, but they can't go too early.
And Canberra have made an interchange. Brett Hetherington wearing 42 is on for David Ferner. I'm just checking who's going to be the goal kicker if Ferner does stay off.
I think you'll find Big Mal. Actually, what happened was Mark Soden got David Ferner with his head. He went for one of those burrowing runs, and he got David Ferner on the leg. Probably got a corked eye.
Canberra fine touch, 33 metres out. Already, Canberra have made 60 tackles, North's 43. So Norths have had the better share of possession. However, Canberra have held their line and thrown a bit back at Norths. Here's Daly, wrapped up in centre field by Fairley. In fact, that was Pongia, I should say. Now they work the move up the middle. It comes from Stewart now to Mullins. He's crunched by Fairley, who closed the gap with Soden. Only 20 metres out now. Hetherington. First change of the match made early in the game. Daly accelerates, back inside, Pongia close to the line.
That's a double movement.
Double movement. Undisputed double movement that time by Quentin Pongia. Bill Harrigan rules emphatically. Lovely work by Daly back inside.
Here he goes, the danger man. Laurie Daly just puts the hammer down Pongia. What about this free hit from Matthew Sears? Look at the size of him. He's a midget up against Pongia. A great tackle and definitely a double movement. There he is, burrowing in with those big legs, pumping Matthew Sears. And I don't know, Pongia, he must have known that was going to be a double movement. If he gets up and plays the ball quickly, they've got a good opportunity to put points on the board. Instead, it's a penalty to the Bears.
It wasn't even a good effort, was it, Peter?
No.
I mean, he must have known he was going to get caught for that. But that's a top play by Canberra in behind the ruck, where Ricky Stewart picks up a block runner in behind the ruck. They've done it twice now. That one featured Mullins.
Larson just short of halfway now. Sears to Taylor. Billy Moore, beautiful hands from Florimo to catch that loose ball. That makes it all the difference. Taylor in and away. Cleary. I think Cleary's been getting a bit of ball early in this game. They've been moving it to that right-hand side. Taylor's kick to Mullins. Taylor chases him across field. Caruana makes the tackle. No points on the board. Both teams have been over the line. Both times the try has been called back. In the earlier games, plus major preliminaries for these as well. Canterbury defeating Illawarra 24-12 in President's Cup. And in reserve grade a win to the Sharks, 12-6 over Canterbury. Quick tap taken by Canberra.
Good tap. Croker going for a bustle down the middle of the field. North Sydney just starting to tire a little bit in this as we come to almost halfway through this first half.
Meninga pulls in the ball on the bounce. State of origin pace.
Certainly is. It's been a tremendous game so far. High quality. Laurie Daly stamping his mark on this game already for the Canberra Raiders. He's the danger man this afternoon.
Steve Walters, the little dummy, but they didn't take it. Larson are wrapped around his ankles. Stewart, Daly. Back inside comes Daly. Well taken by Fennick. The kick now from Ricky Stewart again, puts pressure on. Taken well by Hoppy, and Hoppy escaped. That was brilliant football. He didn't even land in the in-goal area, just quickly came away from the line.
Well, he's worth his weight in gold, Sean Hoppy. Probably the most underrated winger in the game.
Hoppy playing against his old club.
Playing against his old club, and he'll be off to Auckland next year, along with Ruben Wiki. He just doesn't make mistakes, Sean Hoppy.
Tony Hearn.
Good yards for North there, Warren. This is about the third set of 6 where they've made easy yardage. There's Peter Louis, North Sydney coach.
That pass looked forward from Fairley to Larson, but the referee was back 10 metres and he judged it okay.
Warren, interestingly, you can see Laurie Daly's out on the wing at the moment. Don't know whether he's struggling a bit with an injury.
Taylor's kick spears down into the corner for Nandruku. In fact, it bounces towards the post. Nandruku, though, well hit by Florimo and Cleary. Now Clyde. Laurie Daly wandering back towards the centre of the field now.
He's just in the offensive team, not the defensive team.
Pongia hits it up and collides with Fairley and Moore. Stewart wide for Daly, trying to hold it up for Mullins. Instead he goes to Wiki. And Druka would come inside, so Wiki had to take them on by himself. Here's Daly now. Pops it up for Lomax. They need a little more thrust than that, though. Daly was waiting for the runners. Last tackle, Stewart with the kick. And across comes Sears. Deep kick from Ricky Stewart. Sears given a bit of space, though. The chasers arriving just a little bit late.
Showed some great courage there, the little fella, to run between Hetherington and Big Mal Meninga.
Hetherington took a knock on the head in making that tackle.
An update on David Furner's condition. He's got a bruised knee, and there is some chance he'll come back on the field during play.
There's David Furner with his coach Tim Sheens. A little nervous early on there, the face of Tim Sheens. Not totally convinced the way his side's going. Larson, oh, beautiful tackle, Bradley Clyde. And he's lost the ball in the tackle. Hitting the ground hard and the ball just jolting loose.
There he goes, almost gets through Bradley Clyde, but Clyde, he hangs on by a bootlace and just spills out as he hits the ground. There's the front on view. Bradley Clyde lunging at Gary Larson, who's been involved so far, Larson. He's made a couple of good runs.
And he's been replaced by number 43, David Westley.
Away go Canberra from the scrum win. Daly, long pass, Stewart. Wiki quickly onto Meninga, looks inside. Strong defence, though, from the Bears. 3 of them across on top of Mal Meninga. The first man in was Caruana.
Got a bit of a piggyback ride there, Warren.
It's an awesome job, isn't it, to tackle Mal Meninga all day long for Chris Caruana. There's David Westley, just come onto the field. Pace ball, Daly for nobody. And dived on by Cleary. A misunderstanding in the Canberra attack. Quickly they go onto the attack to the blind side. Taylor turns it back into Florimo. Too sure why he did turn it back inside. Florimo makes another 10 metres. Tony Hearn.
So no backup with Tony Hearn. He needs to get support players because he can pop a ball, Tony Hearn.
Taylor, the switch. Fairly now. Wide ball to Cleary. Hoppy gets away from Wiki. Now it's Sears. They're on the Canberra 20. No points on the board as yet. And a real semi-final, this one. Intensity plus. Last tackle coming up now. 12 metres out. Taylor goes high. Waiting underneath it is Ken Nagus. David Hall is there. It's anyone's ball and Nagus has held onto it. I don't know whether it was good luck or good management.
Well, Kenny Nagus will call it good management. There it is, a beautiful bomb by Jason Taylor. Kenny Nagus just seems to get it on his fingertips and drags it back into his body.
Stewart. Nagus. Ken Nagus, who's forced Albert Fullerby back to the bench. Fullerby has been in pretty good form. It shows the respect Tim Sheens has for Ken Nagus. Bradley Clyde ready to come back on the field. Pongia. Lomax. Three big men. Hetherington. Lomax and Pongia working together. Now it's Hetherington again. He's played plenty of first-grade football this season. 10 metres inside the North's half. Last tackle coming up. Stewart, a dummy run. And then the kick from Daly. Sears scurries across. Confronted by Nandrigu and Wiki. Oh, he takes the tackle. Yeah. I don't know if it was wise.
10 out of 10 for courage. I don't know how many give him out of 10 for brains, but...
Well, I think they could have used their brains because two men came into the fullback and that left Sean Hoppy unmarked. Fairly trying to spin out of tackles. That tackle count has evened up now. Norths have made 95, Canberra 104, so possession fairly evenly shared.
It's a real arm wrestle. I think the first team to make a vital mistake in their own half could pay the penalty. Either that or be just a bit of individual brilliance, I'd say, by one of the Raiders stars.
Soden pops it up for Craig Wilson. And his kick is dangerous. Here comes Stewart. Here comes David Hall. On the ground, play on. Oh, bad pass for Taylor. A try, you'd have to say, bomb there. There were 4 North Sydney players in support. All they had to do was make that pass, find Taylor. Brett Mullins has escaped. Taylor can't get to him. He's past Sears. They won't catch him. Shut the gate. Sears is giving some chase, I tell you what. That's amazing. Amazing tackle by Sears. How the hell did he catch the fullback Mullins? They need to play the ball. Steve Walters, a hand from North Sydney, and North have got the ball back. But they were inside the 10 metres, according to referee Harrigan. I don't believe I saw Matt Sears chase down Brett Mullins.
I can't believe it. It's 10 minutes in the bin. Who's got 10 minutes in the bin? One of the North Sydney players offside. Unbelievable. Here we go, quick tap.
And it's going to be a try to Croker. It is a try to Jason Croker for Canberra. Quick thinking, the vision of Canberra once more. And they score the first try. Canberra lead 4 points to 0. And I don't even know if the North Sydney player who's been sent to the bin has got off the field. Here he goes now. I think it's Chris Caruana. But look at this pass from the master, Ricky Stewart, and North Sydney completely outflanked.
Well, everyone expected Canberra to take the 2 points. I expected it, and the North Sydney players did as well. But Stewart and Croker obviously schemed that one up. Brett Mullins, there he is. He still can't believe that someone ran him down from behind. Matthew Sears, incredible pace.
And Peter, Bill Harrigan had made a decision there with the penalty. Here's the break from Mullins, skipping through the fringe of the ruck there. You'd think he was home and hosed now, but a tremendous chase after being wrong-footed by Sears. This is where you'll find Caruana comes into play. This incident here, Bill Harrigan played the advantage. That incident there, that's for the sin bin.
Yeah, and rightly so too. Chris Caruana probably saved 4 points, but in the end they got 4 points anyway.
Mal Meninga taking over the goal kicking from David Furner. And it's straight between the posts. He's only kicked 43% this season, Meninga, but that's a beauty. And Canberra leads 6 points to 0.
Yeah, Bill Harrigan played the advantage. Gave the pen. Look at that pass. Nearly an intercept when David Hall came up, but in safe hands with Croker. He got himself very wide. He was expecting that.
Jason Taylor with the restart. Norths be very disappointed to have conceded that try after a sterling effort through the first section of this game.
Just a couple of missed tackles. And Mullins is way down there, but I still can't get over the fact that Matthew Sears ran down Brett Mullins.
After he had beaten him and left him flat-footed, so he had to take off and must have given him about 9 or 10 metres start. I don't know whether Mullins is 100% fit. And moments before that, North Sydney very nearly score a try when Jason Taylor can't get hold of the pass. Now here is Stewart, who reverses the play to Daly. Must have been called by Laurie Daly, and he breaks 3 tackles. Away he goes. Inside to Andrew. He'll race away for the try. All of a sudden, the gates have opened. 2 quick tries. You can't say the floodgates, but 2 tries in a matter of minutes. And it's Canberra 10, North Sydney 0, started by that magnificent pairing of Ricky Stewart and Laurie Daly.
Yeah, the old reverse pass, and there he is, Laurie Daly, just brushing through tackles with ease. He's got incredible power in his legs, Laurie Daly. And there he is, the big Fijian, Noah Nandruku. The floodgates just might be opening, Warren.
Magnificent work. You'd have to think that there wasn't so much a planned move, but a call from Laurie Daly there, and look at the strength and elusiveness of him, and perfectly positioned, running the inside angle there with Noah Nandruku, and there was no one else home for Norths. Canberra have scored so many tries this season. They've had plenty of shots at goal, and look at this one from Meninga. Just short, had the accuracy, not the direction, not the length. Canberra lead, 10 points to 0.
This looked like a late call from Laurie Daly, but look at the pass he gets from Ricky Stewart. Cleary probably started to slide. He probably thought that Wiki would have been picked up, but Laurie Daly's on fire today. And gee, did that beautifully. Pulled a couple of players out of the line, and Nandruko positioned himself beautifully.
North Sydney have to steady the ship right here and now. They must pin Canberra down and hold them there. You can't allow the green machine to get a roll on.
Yeah, they need to score next, North Sydney, otherwise it's curtains for them. They'll be backing up next week in a sudden deather. If they can't score a try before half-time, I'd say it'll be almost curtains for the Bears.
Clyde takes on Taylor. Taylor clings to him.
There's a total error of 16 to North, 8 to Canberra. I'd say a fair few missed tackles in there by North Sydney. In fact, 10 North Sydney missed tackles. And he won't be happy with that. Greg Florimo, Ivan Cleary, 2 of his best defenders came up with a miss for that last try.
A moment ago, we saw Clyde run straight at Taylor. You would think that they will test out the defence of Jason Taylor, not a noted defender. That kick is too deep. A rare error with the boot from Ricky Stewart.
There you see Ricky Stewart just stabbing it to the sideline. Their kicking game's been excellent today, Canberra, but that one a little bit too much breakfast this morning and just goes dead in goal. So North Sydney regrouping. Really have to come up with something special in this next 5 or 6 minutes.
David Westley wearing number 43 is going on for John Lomax.
Wesley's second appearance on the field. The first, I think, was for a blood bin. Out it goes now to Cleary. Cleary, bit of space. Well tackled, though, by Ruben Wiki. What an improved footballer Ruben Wiki is. Wilson inside to Hoppy. Metres and time, all Canberra now. Look at those metres gained, 1,000 versus 729. Time in possession, 54% of the ball has been the Raiders. Little kick from Florimo. Hall can't get it. Nagus has got it. 50 metres out. Ken Nagus chased by Taylor and Matthew Sears, but Ken Nagus will score close to the posts. Well, it's early days yet, but that might be the nail in the coffin. Third try for Canberra. They lead 14 points to 0. You would have thought that North Sydney had to stay in the contest all day long. They couldn't allow such a lead, but look at this little kick attempted here.
Well, almost an intercept there from the Greg Florimo pass. He pops one up. Billy Moore pops one up and a little chip kick through. Good idea by Greg Florimo, but David Hall can't come up with the beans. And Kenny Nagus swoops on it. And there he is, the Black Flash, the kid from Kyogle. And he goes over to score Canberra's third try and could be the death knell for the Bears.
Third try in 8 minutes for Canberra. And Florimo backing around, realised that David Hall might be a chance, and if he'd only got the bounce, he may well have been, but instead, well scooped up by Ken Nagus. He's a tall man, he got down to it.
A great pick-up by Nagus. Canberra do a lot of work on picking up balls off the ground at training, and it's paid dividends on that occasion.
Mal Meninga lining up the shot at goal, has kicked one from two, both were on target. And he's missed this one, so 1 from 3 all of a sudden. And the shell-shocked North Sydney players make their way back to halfway. Canberra 14, Norths 0.
Yes, this kick probably didn't deserve the fate, but Florimo backed around the back. Daly came up very quickly to effect that tackle and put a lot of pressure on Florimo. But this bloke treats him with contempt. He's got so much pace. He starts to head infield now. Sears showing that he really is a crackerjack runner also, but that might have put it out of range for North Sydney.
Hetherington goes back in amongst them. Now Quentin Pongia. Canterbury coach Chris Anderson looking on. At this stage, he would think he'll be meeting Canberra next week. Canterbury, the minor premiers. Croker chopped down 40 metres out.
There's that ball again, Peter, where the block runner is a dummy runner. They pick up the second runner coming up the centre. It's a very dangerous play.
Yeah, it's a good ploy by Tim Sheen. Puts a lot of thought into his coaching. Always coming up with innovative ideas.
Bombs away from Stewart, and here comes Nandruku flying through. Hoppy's lost it, it's anyone for. Sears cleans up, and just as well. Real pressure there from Noah Nandruku. Another great bomb from Stewart.
Yeah, ripper. Went miles in the air. And Sean Hoppy, one of the few mistakes I've seen him make all season, just comes up with a drop there. And if there was another Canberra Raider player on the spot, it would have been try time. But Matty Sears, the ever-reliable, cleans up for Sean Hoppy. Bears a drop out from the in-goal area under all sorts of pressure with 48 seconds to go.
North Sydney in no hurry to get the game underway, counting down towards half-time. Hetherington winds up, but met with an equally fierce tackle. David Fairley, the man. Wesley now.
Ricky Stewart seems to be directing them forward here. There could be a field goal shot. There's only seconds left.
20 seconds to go, exactly. Daly, Stewart, double pump pass from Mullins. Well tackled by Cleary. Read that play well. No doubt they've got their eye on Mullins. Here's the field goal attempt from Stewart. Positioned himself in centre field, but missed.
Well, it was well worth the attempt. There's the half-time hooter.
Just missing the field goal attempt from Stewart. But Canberra will be very satisfied with that first half. They've scored 3 tries to 0. They lead 14 points to 0.
And there we look at the half-time stats. The big stat there is the errors. 21 errors to North Sydney, 9 to Canberra. That's been the big difference here today. The rest of it's pretty even. Metres gained, a lot more metres gained by Canberra. But those errors, they're the important statistic at half-time. North Sydney will have to fix those up if they're going to get back into this game.
North Sydney have had time to regroup. Second half underway. They'll want to start this second half the way they began the first, like a house on fire, and turn it into some points this time. Debbie, news down there from the sideline?
Well, Peter Louis told Norths to stick to their game plan, to play with a little bit more intelligence, stop throwing the ball around in their own half. He thought they were doing quite well in the arm wrestle stage of the game. Then they started getting sucked into playing Canberra's brand of attacking football. He wants their own game plan back in the second half.
John, you expecting any changes in the way it's played?
Well, I could probably suggest some, Warren, but in the Canberra room, of course, they want to be on the job, of course, for the next 40 minutes, particularly his first 15 minutes. And Tim Sheens has just told his players to look after their own house, so every player has a responsibility.
Here's Mullins slipping a somewhat risky pass away to Nandruku. Not that there was any risk involved in it, but in that position on the field with 3 tacklers around, I don't know whether he wouldn't have been better off taking the tackle. Clyde now. Meninga. Top tacklers. The back row for North's doing all the hard stuff. Larson, Fairley and Moore. Larson leading the way with 21. For Canberra, Steve Walters, 16 tackles. Daly from 5'8" with 15 and Pongia 14. Walters knocked over just short of halfway. Last tackle coming up. Daly from dummy half with the kick. And back there is Sears. Now there'll be plenty of chases down there, and Breaker's not fast enough to do the job. Wiki knocks him off his feet. And again, Matt Sears just showing how elusive he can be.
How quick he is.
Cleary. North's on their own 20. Larson.
Well, they're just going one out, North Sydney at the moment. Doesn't help the bloke carrying the football if he's got no support, because the support players, when you go in numbers, the defence has to look after your support players. But if you go one out, the whole of the defensive line can converge on you, and you end up getting smashed. There's a knock on by Mark Soden.
Knock on by Soden won't help their cause. That's a disappointing set of 6 for Norths.
Yeah, just a little bit of a dribbler, taking his eye off the ball before he picked it up. And Canberra can be very punishing in this part of the football field.
Test of character here for Norths as Clyde goes the blind side. Still going, Bradley Clyde. He breaks a couple of tackles. Gets it back inside. Desperate tackle. Just in time. Somehow Mark Soden broke from the scrum to make that tackle. Ken Nagus only 3 metres out. Out it comes out of Ricky Stewart to Laurie Daly. Back inside, intended for Stewart. Pongia comes up with it. How did Mark Soden break from hooker to stop that try by Nagus? Hetherington. 10 metres out. It's all Canberra all of a sudden. They weathered the early storm and came out firing bullets well and truly after that. The offload from Wesley to Pongia. He's knocked back. Stewart. Daly looks outside. Gives it to Wiki, but he's sandwiched. Last tackle coming up. Daly shoots it out to Stewart. Puts the kick through, and Hall's got it, but can he get out? Clyde, like a sheepdog, chases him. Got back into the field of play, though, David Hall.
Hold on.
Canberra were down the chaser there because Ken Nagus seems to be fairly badly hurt. In fact, that's the blood bin being signalled for him by Bill Harrigan now.
There's the little grubber kick through by Ricky Stewart. David Hall does well here. Bradley Clyde does well to use his pace. He's a pretty nippy character, David Hall.
Nagus not only bleeding badly, but dazed. He's quite groggy. Albert Fullerby comes on for him. Wilson, that pass out in front of him. He dragged it in well. The last thing they needed was a mistake on the first tackle. Taylor hunts up the blind side to Florimo. Greg Florimo, maybe he's the man who can turn this game around for North Sydney. They really have to look to someone.
Have a look at the errors. 26 errors to North now. Only 9 to Canberra. So they haven't fixed it up after half-time. They're still continuing to make those errors. 17 missed tackles in those errors. That's the real killer for North today.
Tony Hearn crosses the halfway. He's still working hard. Last tackle coming up. It goes to Sears. Pops the kick through, looking to chase it himself. Mullins is back there. Cleary is brushed away. But there were plenty more following through the kick. Jacko, I'm just looking at North Sydney. I'm really wondering which one of the players is going to try and take this game by the scruff of the neck and pull the North side back into it, and who's it going to be?
Well, it's got to be Florimo or Taylor. Preferably Florimo because of his strong running, but they really need a lift at the moment, North Sydney. They need a big hit or a couple of big hits or a couple of big runs to lift the side and get a little bit more confidence back in.
Yep, they look like they're on the ropes just waiting for the knockout punch. And someone's got to do something about it.
Warren, what about Sears to 5'8" and Cleary to fullback?
And Florimo where?
Florimo out in the centre.
Well, you're right that Sears has looked dangerous. Here's Canberra on the last tackle. Daly with the kick down towards Sears. He's got a bit of room to move. The kick chase is a staggered line this time. He goes wide and it's spilled out there by Hoppy. Quickly offloaded. Wiki gets it away. Now it's Clyde. Clyde with support to Stewart. He changes direction, dances away. Stewart looking for a try scorer. Still going, Ricky Stewart.
Oh, I think he's bombed that one, Warren.
Should have gone himself, probably.
Oh, he should have gone inside. The player he dummied to on the inside.
Now here's David Wesley, 3 metres out. But North Sydney committing suicide as the pass from Sears to Hoppy was put on the ground. It was a difficult pass. Now it's Clyde dummying to kick. Pops that pass, might have been forward. It's play on with Pongia. Pongia is over. Well, it's a try. We'll have another look at the pass. But referee Harrigan rules it okay. And Canberra lead by 18 points to 0. North committing suicide with mistakes.
Here we see now Bradley Clyde goes out wide to Bradley Clyde. He goes for a bumping run. Jason Taylor in front of him. He gets inside him. Greg Flymo or Gary Larson it was there. Oh, that pass looked a little bit marginal to me. But the referee was right on the spot and Canberra go in for another try. Here's a look at it from the front on. But hard to pick up the angle of this pass from this camera angle. But there's Bradley Clyde just standing for what seemed an eternity. And what ended up being a fairly soft try to the Raiders. You're right, Warren, but North Sydney seemed to be waiting for that knockout punch.
One more look at the pass. Does it go forward from the hands? Tough angle, but I'm suspicious. Quentin Pongia's first try of the season. What a beauty it was. What a time to produce it. Meninga hasn't had many shots at goal this season. That's his 10th for the year, and he's landed it. Canberra 20, well and truly leading North's 0.
Yes, the Canberra side really punish you. This all came off an error. Ricky Stewart, there's that pass, marginally forward, I thought, to Pongia. But Bradley Clyde did extremely well. He had 3 players on him and still had the strength and the awareness to slip that ball. There's the long ball. There's Bradley Clyde. He thinks he'll take the line on, dummies the kick. There's Soden, only a little man. 2 little men in the tackle there, 7 and the 9, and that enabled him to get the ball to Pongia.
Back with play from the restart as Hetherington brings the kick back. Walters. That try was coming, though, wasn't it? Once North Sydney made those mistakes in their own territory, it was coming, and if it wasn't scored a moment earlier by Ricky Stewart or a runner, it was almost given away there. North ball. Ball lost by Pongia, and North Sydney have got it. So Canberra make an error. And the chance for North to hit back, and they get a penalty right in front. They'll go for the try, much as they'd love to have some points on the board with a goal. Taylor quickly goes on the attack. Florimo pops it up nicely for Carolina. That's good football. So given the chance, North are digging deep here. Taylor. Hearn. Caught by Stewart, who moved up quickly. Only 10 metres out. Florimo inside for Fairley. Fairley still going, David Fairley. An important time for Norths, if not for this week, for next week. They have to get that confidence up. Taylor, Wilson going for the line. He's over, and he has got it down. Yes, it's a try to the Bears. Canberra paid for their mistake. The Raiders still lead 20 points to 4. Norths have a kick to come.
Well, this is a pretty soft try again to North Sydney. Here we see the quick play the ball. Mark Soden gets it out to Jason Taylor, who gets it on to Craig Wilson, and the Canberra defence sliding there. You can't slide that close to your line. And Craig Wilson says, thank you very much. Runs in between those 2 players, Wiki and Pongia, I think it was. Goes in for the try. Here we see it again. Now there's Taylor. He gets it on to Wilson. Now the Canberra defence is sliding. They have to come off their line. They were never going to stop Wilson on that occasion, and he burrows in for a try.
A wide ball there, and well, a short pass, in fact, really just working it wide on that blind side. Wilson too strong. Craig Wilson coming off the bench, 5th try of the season. Jason Taylor. Jason Taylor has kicked 77% of his goals. There it is, straight between the posts.
Yes, a bit of a boost for them. 20 points to 6 now, Canberra in front, but a boost for the North Sydney side. As Peter said, look at the Canberra defensive line. Laurie Daly starts to slide, but Wiki's the man who should have come straight off the line there. He would have wrapped Wilson up the 41. He just had the momentum up to get over the line, Wilson.
Meninga with the restart.
And Norths have made an interchange. Gavin Jones on replacing Craig Wilson. Jones, of course, in 8 and was in the original starting lineup.
His first taste of the action. Some distance into the second half. It's David Hall. Boosted by that try, what can Norths find? More.
And the other interesting news is Brett Mullins have run off the field for Canberra. He ran into the dressing room. I don't think they've replaced him. We're just trying to find out what's going on there. But it was while the kick was being taken after the try.
Fairly.
Yeah, I noticed Brett Mullins looked like he was favouring his back at one stage there after being tackled. So that's of a concern.
Gary Larson runs into some space. Plenty of support on his right-hand side. He changes direction to Florimo, galloping into open space again. Intercept though by Laurie Daly. Where did he come from? And that shuts down that raid from North Sydney, just as they were looking promising.
Well, where did he come from? That's the question that Gavin Jones is asking. Here we see Greg Florimo gets it back inside to big Gavin Jones, and Gav goes, "Where did you come from, Laurie? You thief!"
So the Raiders back in possession. And wouldn't a try there have really lifted the spirits of Norths? Would have got them right back in the game. As it is, they trail by 14 points. And now the ball popped up to Fulavai. But the pass is called back.
Yeah, good work by the touch judge.
Andruku's pass just called us forward.
Here we see it now. I think it was the touch judge who gave the call. Have a look at him, see if he talks into his little walkie-talkie there. Hang on, does he? No. Bill Harrigan actually picked it up, so good work by Bill Harrigan. There's big Noah, an absolute hero in Fiji.
From one by North. Florimo goes wide out to Cleary.
Sorry, Warren, Brett Mullins back on the field for Canberra. They won't say at the moment. They're being a bit coy what he was off the field for.
He makes the tackle on his opposite number, Sears. Now it's Florimo, who is getting more involved. That's a high tackle against Canberra.
Well, that's a high tackle, but Brett Mullins is struggling. I think it might be that cork, actually. He got a really bad cork against Illawarra. Here we see Greg Florimo. Here we see the high tackle. Wow, there's not much in that. Probably worth a penalty, if that. The Bears back on the attack.
And they're only 10 metres out. A try here will make things very, very interesting. Larson charging for the line. Canberra's defence once more under examination. Out it comes. And Fairley had Cleary running off his shoulder. Soden now darts for the line. Well tackled by Croker. Cleary. Taylor. Now Wilson trying to get the pass underneath Meninga. It's called at the last tackle coming up now. I thought he might have even got 6 more off Meninga. Taylor. Long pass over the top. Carolina can't hang on. David Hall keeps it on the toe. The referee will call it back for the knock on though. And it was the last tackle, so it's a handover.
Yeah, Chris Caruana just tries to pop this over his head. And in fact, he tried to catch it and came out with the knock on. David Hall trying his best, but
Clyde. The Raiders leading by 14 points. Scoring 4 tries to 1. Stewart looks inside for David Furner. Always has options either side, Ricky Stewart, and advertises them as he goes to the line with the ball out in front of him. Meninga back inside to Mullins. Away from Larson. How fast is he this time? He's found Croker. Croker's plenty fast as well. He changes direction. He's escaped Gary Larson. And away goes Jason Croker. What a season he's had. His 20th try of the year. In fact, it's his 21st try of the year. He scored 2 in this match. 24 points to 6. And the Canberra Raiders now look to have wrapped up a victory over North Sydney.
Yeah.
It wasn't already certain, it is now.
It certainly is. Laurie Daly, switching back to Laurie Daly. Big Mal's in there involved to Mullins. He just puts down the accelerator. He leaves Gary Larson behind with a bit of a fend. Now, Croker does well here. Now, he turns Gary Larson inside out here. Gary Larson doesn't know which way he's going. He's going left, he's going right, he's going left, he's going right. He's going in underneath the post. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, great football. by Mullins, who we were just questioning his fitness. Meninga must have known something because he turns the pass back in quite softly to Mullins, but look at the elusive play and tremendous backup by Jason Croker. And you would think that there might have been a North Sydney player coming from that side of the field, but Gary Larson was all by himself in the end. Tremendous evasion, though, by Croker. Brett Mullins struggling, having set that try up.
Well, Albert Fullerby is on the sideline getting ready to replace him, Warren.
David Furner right in front of the posts. Al Meninga relieved to hand over the goal-kicking duties. There's 2 more points. Canberra take a stranglehold on the match, 26-6.
Well, Warren, and Ricky Stewart just torments the defence. That was a really long ball from Ricky Stewart, and a transfer inside, a couple of hands, a missed tackle there. Mullins does very well there. That's not easy to do that, just to send someone coming up on your outside and slip a nice little ball, and of course he wrong foots Gary Larson. But those long balls of Ricky Stewart really tormenting every side they play.
As Brett Mullins, Ken Nagus has dropped back to play fullback now with Albert Fullerby out on the wing, and he's got ice on his knee.
Couple of rookies out there really for Canberra. Here's Wiki strong. He's lost the ball. Hoppy quickly pounces on it. Oh, Wiki makes up for the mistake with a strong tackle. There's certainly rookies out there. Wiki, Hetherington and Fullerby haven't played in finals before for Canberra as they go wide North Sydney. Caruana's gone straight through. The defence got confused. Caruana scores in the corner. Mal Meninga couldn't get to him right in the corner. And maybe Caruana, if he had his time over, might have improved the position. But all he knew was that he had to get to the line. Canberra 26, North Sydney 10. A mistake in defence out here. I think one Canberra player left it for the other, and vice versa. There they are. They got confused. And Caruana showing the little dummy on the inside, sprints away and scores wide out.
Here we see the mix-up. Florimo to Fairley to Taylor. There's the long ball now. Albert Fullerby. I think it was Laurie Daly's man, in fact. Laurie just dropped off, didn't chase hard enough, and Chris Caruana goes through the gap. Here, this will get a better look at it from this angle. See, going across the back line there, and the Canberra Raiders sliding defence here. They slide out towards the sideline, and Fullerby had his man marked, and Laurie Daly, that was his man, Laurie. And Caruana goes in for, what you'd say, probably a consolation try at this stage of the game.
Taylor, difficult kick. And he's given it every chance. That's a fantastic kick. Fantastic kick by Taylor. 26-12, Canberra leading though.
Yeah, the Canberra defence doesn't seem to be all that uncomfortable here. They start to slide. They're starting to nominate men here. It's one-on-one. Daly should have really speared into him, but what happened? David Hall came on the inside, and that held Fullerby up, and of course Daly thought Fullerby was going to take Caruana.
Canberra have had an extra 25% of ball. If you take the hit-ups, they've hit it up through the forwards 80 times. North's 59.
For Canberra, Steve Walters has gone to the bench. Jason Deep out on the field. He's wearing 44, Deep.
What a game Steve Walters has had. Fairley. They're short of halfway. Canberra short on this side of the field. Jones. Wilson changes direction. That pass touched by Stewart, and he'll force the scrum. But at least he stopped the threat of a try.
Yeah, Craig Wilson, here he is. Always a thorn in the side of the opposition, and Ricky Stewart just gets a fingertip to it. I think Peter Louis probably got a look at starting Craig Wilson. What do you think about that, Peardy? I think he needs a little bit more variety in the forwards.
I think you're right, Peter. More variation around that back row. Craig Wilson, very nice player with a ball in his hands. I don't think I'd like to play against him. I'd rather have just someone coming at me, I think, rather than someone that holds the ball in front looking for runners.
Hoppy. Tackled by Deep. Wesley also having a strong match off the bench. Taylor finds Fairley. Ridden to ground by Stewart and Clyde.
Well, it's pretty hard to pick the back rowers to bits, is it, Peter? They're not a bad trio.
Oh, I don't think he probably wouldn't look at dropping one of those, mate. I think he'd probably put
someone up front.
Larson up to the front row, and either Mario or Gavin Jones might get the chop.
Yeah, we've seen Larson playing front row at stages today.
Nagus has dropped back to fullback. Managed to cover that kick by fairly well. Now Wiki. Nandruku. He's 70 metres out. How far can he go? He steps inside Sears, still going. He's got men on his right. Nandruku still going. Oh, bad pass. And Deep puts it down. Well, he couldn't gather it in. Oh, Noah's mucked it up. And Malmaninga monsters Mark Soden in the in goal.
And gives him a bit of a pat and says sorry about that. Now
I just heard a groan from Fiji.
here's the run by Noah. Now he really bamboozled a great sidestep from his right foot to get around Matty Sears, but he really bamboozled the defence. But in the end, he ends up bamboozling himself. And I'm not sure whether that pass was actually forward, but Deeth in the end comes up with the knock on. So a try gone beating to the Raiders.
Out Soden.
Uh-oh, Ricky Stewart's down, looks in a lot of trouble.
Long pass. The Storks go on the attack. It's Toshak down the touchline. Cross comes Nagus. Hearn quickly onto Hoppy. He realises he's running out of room, and now he's lost the ball.
Tell you what, sorry about the lost ball. Have a look at Ricky Stewart. This could be trouble for Canberra. He looks like he's in all sorts of trouble with a knee injury.
It might be a cork holding that soft part of the thigh.
Look at that big lump on his leg there.
Gee, holy hell. What is that? I've never seen one of those.
I think you'll find that's a burst blood vessel, Warren. Dr. Jackson.
And that could be serious. Burst blood vessels don't go away overnight.
No, they don't. And he looks to be favouring his knee there, so...
They've got to get him off the field and get some ice on it.
Well, they don't seem to be in a hurry. They're making any moves down here immediately for replacements.
Canberra in possession on their own 20. Stewart's still on the field and the trainer's going off.
And here's the injury. Well, he looks in a lot of pain there. Well, I think you're right, Warren. I think it is just a cork, and it's probably, as I said, it's probably burst a blood vessel. So he seems to be okay now. He's a tough little rooster, Ricky Stewart.
Now here's Deep. As I say, taking a leaf out of Steve Walter's book. Canberra got an extra 6 tackles from a North Sydney hand, a couple of tackles back. Daly, Clyde, fighting, unloading. Moore with a very good tackle, though. Swept up to tackle Deep. Daly on the blind side. The kick ahead. No one really giving chase. Sears is back there. Fullaby arrives. So North back near their own goal line. Fullaby in for a second tackle.
Missed tackles have been the downfall of North today. Just one up missed tackles. I mean, we had Laurie Daly for his try. We had Mullins when he made that break just before they scored their first try. Then we had Mullins again breaking the line for Croker's second try. Simple missed tackles. And
they're not simple tackles to make on those players, though, sometimes, Jack, are they?
Well, they're not, exactly, Deb, but I mean, in semi-final football, the mistakes are high. You have to make those tackles, and North Sydney players wouldn't be sitting in the dressing room this afternoon. There's Mark Soden just dribbling one into touch. They wouldn't be sitting in the dressing room after this game saying, oh, that Brett Mullins is a good player. I'm allowed to miss him.
No, but then again, that's what makes Canberra so great, is that they've got those players who one-on-one can beat their man, can't they?
Exactly.
David Fairley has ice on the shoulder, so quite a few players have sustained injuries in this game, which is into the last 30 seconds now. Well, Jacko, North may take some heart when they look at the video from their performance in the first 20 minutes of the match, but from there on, Canberra just too strong.
Yeah, they won't. I want to turn the video player off after 20 minutes, I think. Hasn't been a woeful performance by North by any stretch of the imagination. But I just think, as I said about those missed tackles, that's what really cruelled them today.
Well, the last play of the game is Clyde kicks for touch to finish an eventful major preliminary semi-final. But there's no doubt who the victors are. It's the Canberra Raiders. They'll march on to meet Canterbury next week at full time. Canberra, too good for North, 26 points to 12. It was 14-0 at half-time. The second half was a 12-all draw, but Canberra always had it in the bag. They scored 5 tries to 2, 2 tries to Croker, 1 each to Nandruku, Nagus and Ponga. With the boot, Meninga 2 from 4, Furner 1 from 1. For Norths, 2 tries, 1 each to Wilson and Caruana, Taylor 2 from 2. Who was Jacko's judgment?
Well, I think the scrum-based trio of Stuart, Daly and Clyde were outstanding, but at a pinch, I'll go for Laurie Daly. Set up a try, did some inspirational things at the right time, and really showed what a champion footballer he is, only after 2 games back.
Now tomorrow, it's Manly versus